All right, testing mic. We seem to be good. I'm aware my bitrate might not be the best with my audio tonight, but I'm not gonna fix it tonight. I'll fix it for next stream. It seems like here, as YouTube is giving me that notification for some reason, which that's new. So I apologize if my audio doesn't sound the best, but it should be fine. What's going on, y'all? Another Bulls post-game stream here on this channel. I missed the last game due to the Bears playing, obviously, and that was a hell of a win. Bulls won their last game against Dallas Mavericks, and that's obviously a very beat-up Mavericks team that they were able to win against, but unfortunately they fall short to Houston tonight. Bulls are missing a lot of guys, obviously, but put up a pretty good fight. I think this is honestly a pretty decent fight by the Bulls tonight to try to pull this one off. Unfortunately, they fell just short. We started to see, honestly, in certain moments that I think the Bulls were outplaying the Rockets tonight. There were some moments where I was like, yeah, they're out hustling them. They're getting to the balls quicker. They're getting more offensive rebounds, which I did not expect to see tonight by this Bulls team, because the Houston Rockets are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. And we saw them fighting for the rebounds better at some moments, and they were forcing a lot of turnovers for this Rockets team in that first half. The Rockets had 8 first half turnovers, something that the Bulls do not typically force. And as you can see, the total number of turnovers, the Bulls unfortunately did not really force many turnovers in the second half, which ultimately led to their downfall. So, yeah, the first half was a little bit better overall in terms of what I thought the defensive quality was. I saw some better moments, specifically in the second quarter, in terms of defensive effort and, making sure we can try to force some turnovers, get some pokeaways, and get some steals, something the Bulls very much lack. But, unfortunately, then we saw in that fourth quarter, which I will say, I'm going to criticize Donovan a little bit tonight, as we love to do on this channel, but the overall coaching staff decisions tonight, I was a little bit confused with the double teaming decisions. Now, obviously, they're coaches and I'm not, so, that they have their opinions on things, but I have some very big opinions on what the Bulls decided to do in terms of their double teams tonight. And I honestly like in every situation the Bulls decided to double team for the most part, I'm like, I disagree with double teaming here. I don't understand why you're deciding to double team in this sort of scenario. And then there were moments when I thought that the Bulls should be just playing it straight up. And then there's the moments then where the Bulls are playing it straight up. I'm like, no, you should probably double here. And they didn't double. So very odd decisions, I think, tonight by the coaching staff and when to double certain guys, specifically Durant and Şengün were the two guys I'm mentioning here. And ultimately, it led to some bad overall play down the stretch of this one, especially in that fourth quarter. It put the defense in a rough spot. So we'll talk about that, maybe break down some film a little bit on it. Talk about Buzelis extending his streak. Buzelis now has career high of 7 games in a row of hitting 15 points or more. Which is a great sign from him. He's absolutely stepped up and played very well since Giddey has gone out and Kobe's been in and out of the lineup. Tre Jones tonight had by far his best game of his career, but also arguably the best game for the Bulls all season. This is an insane game from Tre Jones, and he was incredible, honestly, tonight. Kept the Bulls in, is getting to the free throw line. His efficiency is off the charts in this one, 11 of 12 from the field. So another game where his efficiency is just insane. From him. So this was cool to see from Tre Jones. Maybe the Houston Rockets want to go after him now. Maybe. I'm not sure. But even for him, like Tre Jones, like I was looking at some of the minutes tonight, which like I'm happy about this. Like this is good from Billy Donovan. I'm very happy to see this. I don't understand this though. If you're really trying to play to win, if you're the Chicago Bulls, then I don't know why you're playing Tre Jones only 27 minutes tonight. Like this made absolutely no sense whatsoever. This guy got way too many minutes. This guy got too many minutes tonight as well. Very, very confusing sort of decisions, I think, from the Bulls coaching staff tonight, which is not shocking because we've been confused a lot this season from the Bulls coaching staff, unfortunately. So this is really cool to see from Tre Jones. We'll see how long he's on this Bulls roster. I love him, but the trade deadline is looming, and he just played a team that does need a point guard. So I'd be interested to see if this just suddenly just skyrocketed his value in the Rocket system, which would be very interesting to see. Buzelis had another pretty solid game tonight. He got off to a slow start for sure. He had 4 points in that first half, but he did a good job in the second half, rebounding from his kind of slow first half, I would say. Got some offensive rebounds. We saw him hit the 3-point shot eventually. He hit 2 key buckets down the stretch of this game. He had a pull-up 3-point shot off the pick and roll, and then he got a give and go with Jalen Smith for a left-handed layup with about like 3.5 minutes to go, I think it was. So that was cool to see from Buzelis. And he went and deterred a shot from Steven Adams right after that made bucket. So that was cool. Unfortunately, though, the Bulls, they're on offense tonight, their efficiency wasn't that great in terms of just shot-making ability. I thought the passing was still very good. I thought that they were playing with pretty decent pace. Offensive rebounds also really helped tonight. They had 14 offensive rebounds, which is something they don't usually do. But the efficiency from some players was just not good enough tonight. Notably, this man right here, Patrick Williams, somehow put up an 0 for 6 stat line tonight, which is just like, I don't know what even to say at this point. I honestly would not have been mad to see Dalen Terry play more minutes just because he was just doing more than Patrick Williams ever did tonight in 8 minutes, and then Patrick played nearly 18 minutes and was just disastrous out there tonight. Kevin Huerter continues to piss me off. I don't know sometimes what he's doing out there in certain moments, and his lack of 3-point shooting really makes it hard for me to watch him sometimes. He was also then, and this is not his fault, but like he was also then put on Kevin Durant in some moments, like intentionally, which I was just like, why? Io had an off game in terms of his efficiency, which Io's been great in the last 5 games heading up until tonight, so this is a little bit weird to see. Okoro was 3 for 9, missed some shots at the rim. Vucevic with his typical terrible efficiency that I'm not really happy about. But this is not, I'm not used to seeing this. Jalen Smith is usually like a pretty efficient player overall. So to see him shoot 38% from the field tonight is just really weird. He's usually a bit more efficient with his play. Yeah, I could definitely tell that there is just, I mean, we saw Vooch miss some gimmies around the rim. We saw Coral miss some shots around the rim as well. Huerter, we saw Huerter in that one possession where he missed 2 offensive rebounds that he got that were like point blank, and he missed them. Vucevic ended up cleaning up though, but it just was like, there's definitely some very bad missed shots tonight, I think, and it just shows a lack of offensive talent, I think, overall for this Bulls team. And relying on certain role players to give you the offensive boost that you need is just not going to be good enough, unfortunately. But I will say, I give a lot of credit to these guys for their defense tonight. I think they did a pretty good job defensively on all accounts. From guarding Durant to Şengün to just trying to slow down this Rockets team. I think they honestly did a pretty good job. But the second half was definitely a little bit of a fall off compared to that first half, where I thought that I was like, hey, you know what? Like, first half, I was pretty pleased with the defense. Second half, it was like, it's all right. So like overall, it's like a pretty decent day defensively. Could have definitely been better in the second half, but I'm not going to be complaining too hard from this, lack of personnel defensively. So, great job by Tre Jones tonight. Insane game from him. Buzelis continues his good streak. I do think that efficiency from the others needs to be better. I'm not usually like with Io. I can usually trust him to be efficient. He's like arguably the most efficient player on this Bulls team. The second guy, or maybe even the top guy now, is Tre Jones. Like, Tre Jones has also been one of the most efficient players all season long. But like Vucevic, this cannot happen. Smith needs to be better. This needs to be better from Okoro from the shots that he missed in the interior. And Huerter's efficiency, unfortunately, all season long has just been bad. And Patrick Williams, man, like, brother, P. Will, I don't know what to do with this man. Like, Patrick Williams is just like, I always just go back to, like, I wrote an article at the start of the season, and I said that Patrick Williams will be better this year. I didn't say how much better. I just said that he'll be better than last season, basically. And I thought that would be a very low bar to clear. If like he would just play like, he only played like half the season last season. So it's just like, okay, you know what? If you play like 60 games this and you shoot pretty decently from 3-point range, and you somehow find a way to like just be like just a actual NBA caliber efficient player, I thought that, I'm like, oh yeah, like that should definitely be passable for Patrick Williams, because we saw 3 seasons of that beforehand. And somehow, some way, this man continues just to find ways to just impress me of how terrible he is. Like, tonight was absolutely dreadful from him. He is missing wide open 3-point shots tonight, and I'm like, okay, well, if that's not going down, then like I don't even need you out there. Like, you don't provide anything else. Didn't get many rebounds at all. You got one. And when he was guarding Durant, it was like basically getting cooked by him, which I understand that everyone gets cooked by Durant, but like I felt better with Matas Buzelis' defense on Durant tonight, and I think Buzelis has had some troubles with his perimeter defense. And so I'm just like, okay, well, you're not even guarding Durant really good, so like why should I have you out there? And somehow you got 18 minutes tonight, or 17. Like, I don't understand how he got this many minutes. He legitimately did nothing out there. And then he had that turnover that I was just like, holy shit. Like, that turnover is like one of the most horrendous turnovers ever. I mean, for Patrick Williams, who has a lot of bad turnovers just due to his like terrible catch and think moments, I'm just like, how the fuck did you have this turnover, bro? Like, man, this guy gets paid, 17, 18 million a year. Like, it's gotta get better. But Jesus, man. Like I said, I think Terry honestly deserved his minutes tonight, but it is what it is. We saw against the good teams, and that's not shocking. I mean, I didn't expect the Bulls to win this game tonight by any means. Like, I think expecting the Bulls to win this game tonight is pretty ridiculous, but no, I think the Bulls honestly did pretty decent tonight, all things considered. But I think, are still seeing that, from the good teams, which even the Rockets have been kind of struggling recently, but I did have them as a contender. But there's a clear difference. Like, there's this is a team that has 8 games over 500, and we came into tonight with 2 games under 500. So not that shocking to see. I think the Bulls did a pretty decent job overall considering circumstances. You're missing your starting backcourt, missing Zach Collins. Yeah, they did a pretty decent job. They just have Durant, Şengün, and others that were able to step up to the plate, like Jabari Smith Jr. At the end, hit a lot of big shots at the end there. He had 7 points at the end. That was like huge. So, it's not too shocking to see. I just wish that I would just see some better play from some of these individuals here. But team collectively as a whole, I thought wasn't too bad. He is the GOAT, actually. Yeah, he is actually the GOAT, man. Yeah, I cannot wait until this man's off the roster. And that once like the very few P-Will defenders have like nothing to defend anymore, because like Patrick Williams, like once he is off this Bulls roster, if he continues to play this terribly, like once he is off this Bulls roster, I do not expect him to get another offer to play in the NBA again. And so if he continues to this terrible play, I just cannot wait to see like from how Bulls fans are gonna look back at him and be like, yo, like. Yeah, he was pretty awful, bro. Like, I think that's something that just some people don't like fully realize because they're just kind of living in the moment and not like fully realizing the context right now. Like, Patrick this season is just like, we thought he was so shit last season. Like, it's gotten so bad now that I'm just like, I mean, I'm definitely, I'm like used to it at this point, but I think that people need to just like understand how bad he is right now. Like, it is just at an all-time low in terms of like just not even just him, but like as just a in general basketball player that is played in the NBA. It's just like, wow, bro. Like, holy shit. Tonight he came into tonight shooting 34% on twos. Like, his rebounding has gone down. Like, I just don't know what to do at this point, man. This man is just, he's nowhere near an NBA caliber player at this point. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till he's gone. And then, like, for the people that still are defending Patrick Williams, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I still see some Patrick Williams defenders on Twitter or in the Bulls community. Like, there are still very avid Patrick Williams defenders out there. But I really do hope that they'll come to their senses once he is off the team. It's just like, yeah, like, this is pretty awful. Because, like, they're trying to push a narrative because, like, they liked him early and they don't want to give up liking him, etc., etc. They're still seeing him play. So, obviously, a lot of people, like, they just see, like, yeah, if you're in a Bulls uniform, we're going to root for you. And look, man, I want every player on this team to succeed. Like, I don't want see anyone fail. But I mean, it's just getting to a point now with Pat that I'm just like, brother, like, I just don't want you out there at this point. So, yeah, I think that once, like, he's off the Bulls roster, and I do think that people will finally have that separation of, like, oh, he's no longer in a Bulls uniform, not, like, you know, trying to cheer him on or anything like that, and just, like, step back and realize, like, oh my God, this guy is so bad. Like, I don't think people are fully understanding that yet, but, like, I have been, like, throwing this out there to people in articles and, you know, on Twitter and everything. I'm just like, no, this is just, like, insanely bad. Yet somehow Stacey King found a way to defend him, like, 3 weeks ago. So, should be benched. I agree, man. Like, I think that Dalen Terry should have gotten Patrick Williams minutes tonight, and I don't think Terry's also, I don't even think Terry's an NBA player either, but, like, in his first initial stint, like, he came in, he got a steal, he was given some energy. He then went down all the way on the floor on one of his steals and missed the layup, but Io got the rebound and put back. But, like, I'll take that. Like, you know, like, it's something more than what Patrick Williams was doing in this game. Like, holy shit. This is just an awful game from Pat, man. So, yeah, I am gonna maybe show some film tonight. I know I haven't done it in a while. A big reason why is copyright. NBA's been cracking down on copyright for whatever reason. I don't know why. But I really do think that the coaches need to be kind of looked at today, because I'm just like, there's just some decisions that I just heavily disagreed with, and I'm willing to show you guys some. But first and foremost, before we do that, I need to see this turnover from Pat one more time. God, man, like, oh, come on, it's not even showing it. Come on, NBA. Come on, NBA.com, work with me. No, okay, hold on. It's not fully loaded in yet. Okay, that makes sense. I don't blame him. Ugh. Hold on, listen. Oh, damn it. Well, either way, though, we're gonna go to the film anyway, just to kind of show what I'm talking about in terms of, like, when the Bulls, I think, should be doubling, and when I'm just, like, confused at why they are doubling in certain situations. Just to kind of show that overall. I'm sorry, I don't know why this did that. Silver. Oh, that is old. Hold on, that is the wrong thing. I just clicked. All right, here we go. So let me actually hold on. Let me skip over to some play. Let's see if I can just this here. So yeah, let's go to the first one that I was pretty, like, I was just like, I don't think we need to do this, honestly. All right, let's watch this first play. So I personally, you know, this is just my opinion on these things, but, you know, people can disagree with me when it comes to this sort of stuff. All right, EpiPen is up. All right, let's see where we end up being here once the screen finally loads in. Sorry about this. Okay, sorry. I'm going to avoid copyright for just a second, and then we're going to go to the play here. All right, let's watch this play. Okay, you know, it's definitely a very fun sort of play that Udoka kind of drew up here. I'll use red for the Rockets for tonight because they're in red and we're in black. So Rockets, you know, they had their two best players on the side of the floor. Okay, so it's Durant and it's Şengün. You then decide, hey, or for the Rockets, they decide to do this little, like, flare screen to kind of get Şengün an open spot here off a Durant pick, right? Like, it's a very interesting kind of concept that they've drawn up here, and I like it. But you see here, the Bulls decide to switch this, okay? And this is not shocking to see. They've been kind of having to do this recently. And so now Okoro is, in fact, on Şengün, okay? So I personally think that in this sort of scenario, actually I'll go back on this. So I in this specific scenario, I do agree with the double team. I just heavily disagree with how they did it. But I'm going to show you a scenario where I just heavily disagree with doubling in the first place. So let me show you this though. So here's the repost when it comes to on this play. And now Şengün, yeah, like, here's Okoro, he's small. Şengün's gonna just go right at him. Like, yeah, you probably need to send a double. But my confusion is just like, why is it this guy? Why are you coming off of Kevin Durant in this scenario to come over and double team? And also, why is it Vooch? In my opinion, what should be happening here is that Buzelis needs to come on over. Because Thompson's not a threat from 3-point range. I'm aware that Thompson can maybe get like the backdoor cut here and get a baseline dunk, but I think the Bulls just need to sink in this scenario. And the last thing I think they need to do in this situation is to come off of one of the greatest scorers of all time and one of the most efficient players of all time, and leave him open, and also then not rotate. But like, even if you decided to do this right, like, I don't want Jalen Smith to be running out on this. Like, I think it's just a bad overall decision. So I don't know. This is maybe not the best case scenario, but you see what happens here. Vooch decides to half commit, and so it's not even a full-out double team, but he was like half committed coming on over. Here's Smith coming on over now, which is already late. And you left one of the greatest scorers of all time to be wide open for open 3-point look, which is just absolutely one of the worst decisions possible. So let me then show you another situation though, where I just think, I'm like, man, like I think we just need to just let this just go. I was a little bit upset with just how they kind of ran it. And we just need to like just let it be. Like, just, and what I mean by this is like, don't double team here. Just let Şengün just try to do his thing on the block, because I think it's worth it to just let him try to go to work and not try to put your defense in an awkward spot. So let me show you this example here. Sorry, hold on, I'm pulling things up. Where is... I don't think that's it, is it? Oh, this. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's talk about this specific play then. I'm gonna go back 10 seconds. We'll see where it pops up here. Sorry, avoiding copyright. Okay, so same situation here. Şengün's in the post. Now Durant is on the floor, but he is not the initial, like, he's not on the same side. Okay, so in this specific instance though, I do not think you should be doubling in this sort of scenario. Okay, this is Patrick Williams. If you don't know who this is P. Will standing behind Şengün. In my opinion, personally, I think you should just let this go one-on-one. If Şengün scores, then Şengün scores. But I don't think that you should be putting your defense in such a disarray to try to like cover up for double teaming in the post in this sort of scenario, and then like try and like figure out a way to get back to everybody here. And so watch what the Bulls decide to do, where they decide, okay, well, here's Şengün in the post one-on-one against Patrick Williams. You see Io is already kind of shading here, but they don't decide to double team officially until Şengün decides to start to dribble. Okay, so here comes Şengün to face up. Here's the dribble. Here comes Io. Io decides to double team now. Okay, what this means now is that these three guys have to cover up for these four players. Okay, and when you watch what's going to happen here, Vooch is going to have to stay on Steven Adams, right? Because we do not want Vooch running around on the perimeter and trying to cover up for guys, right? So like Vooch going out there doesn't make any sense, so he needs to stay on Steven Adams. That makes total sense to me. So it's up to then Buzelis and Herter to then cover up for wherever the ball goes between these three guys. So Buzelis obviously needs to cover this guy, but if the pass is, so let's say the pass is thrown out to him, then whichever way the pass then goes, whether it is to Durant or it's to Shepherd, okay, then you're gonna have to see Kevin Herter take that guy, okay? Once this pass is released, though, Io then has to run on over and cover up whichever one of these two players between Durant and Shepherd Herter didn't cover. Okay, which I understand that this is like that's the game plan, but I just feel like that in this scenario that you just don't need to double this. Like, just let Şengün go to work. And if you're wondering about the stats, like Şengün like came in, like he was averaging about 0.96 points per possession, I think it was, in the post. It was around that number, but it's like that's like the 43rd percentile. Like, this is not Jokic, okay? Like, this also isn't Embiid in his prime. It's also not Kevin Durant. So, I personally think that you should just let this go. Like, if Şengün finds a way to score, okay, it's 2 points, whatever. It is what it is. But I'd rather not try to run around and try to cover up for these guys personally. The Rockets are not really a three-point shooting team overall, but if you give them these open looks, then, you know, they have guys to knock it down. And so you see here comes Io, so Buzelis has to run on out, right? Here's Herter. Like, these guys are doing their job. I just think it's personally just a bad coaching decision. And you saw that Io basically, like, he was running since the get-go once the pass was released. I just don't think you should be doubling that play, but that's just my opinion at the end of the day. So we saw, as you can see here earlier on in this game, that, like, the Bulls were doubling Şengün a decent amount, especially when he was in this low block. But then, weirdly enough, and this is what I don't understand, honestly, from what I was looking at, but, like, then the Bulls decided when Şengün was ISO'd in the middle of the floor, okay, which is you're going to see right here on this play, like, this is a similar situation where it's Buzelis is on Şengün, and in my opinion, yeah, I wouldn't double this either. But the Bulls decided not to double this specific play. Okay, like, they decide, no, we're just gonna let this one go one-on-one, and Şengün scores here. Yeah, Buzelis in the pump fake, which is, we still need Buzelis obviously to get bigger and stronger, so he's not thrown around like that. So, but yeah, I'm fine with that, honestly. I do think that Vooch needs to maybe come over and help at the end, but, like, I'm not doubling Şengün when he's like 17 feet away from the basket, though. Like, I would definitely wouldn't do that. So there's that, and then of course then the Bulls just do something weird and on when it comes to Durant when he's the other guy. So the show then early on in the game what the Bulls were doing with Durant, okay, like it's the roles are basically reversed here, right? Like, here the roles reversed, and you see here, like, Durant's on the block, okay, he's not here, he's not in the middle of the floor, Durant's on the block, and the Bulls decide, yeah, we're just gonna let this go. Which in my opinion, I'm like, no, I would personally, this is the guy I personally would be doubling, because he's the bigger threat in the post in my opinion, but then he's also not on the perimeter to, like, go and kill you if you decide to put your defense in rotation mode, right? Like, Durant's not out there being one of the shooters out there, so if it ends up, you know, Josh Okogie shoots a three, I'm like, I'd take that, right, instead of Durant allowing to go one-on-one here. But I guess they trust Isaac Okoro this much to just go ahead and guard him. Like, to me, this is just too easy for what comes to Durant. So when Şengün's on the block, especially when Adams is in the game specifically, it does cause a lot of pressure for the defense. But I think you should just let that go one-on-one personally. Because Durant's out there, and I don't want him to get an open look out of this just because we are putting our defense in disarray. But Durant on the block, though, I'm like, okay, like, I mean, if he wants to, he basically could just rise up at any moment and just make that. I would personally double that and, like, you know, force it. Like, if Şengün shoots a three, or a Kogi shoots a three, or a Thompson shoots a three, I'm going to take that personally. But the Bulls decided not to do that for whatever reason in this game. But then, of course, when I think that the Bulls should be just kind of playing just, you know, normal on Durant, we saw at the end of the game here, and it was very interesting. It just kind of started to happen because I guess Durant, you know, he was kind of getting going a little bit. But we then saw the Bulls then, and they decided to double Durant at the top of the key here. And I'm like, why are we doubling when it's this dude's like 38 feet away from the basket? Like, look, man, I'm all for doubling Durant when it's necessary, but doubling Durant here doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I think this is way too far apart or way too far away from the basket. It's going to stretch your defense too thin. And not to mention, then, like, you're putting one of your best defenders in this scenario where you're bringing a core over to double. Like, I just, at times when the Bulls decided to double Durant tonight, didn't make much sense to me. But when they decided to just play one-on-one, I'm like, no, you should be doubling him here. This doesn't make much sense to me. Like, if Durant here, like, yeah, I'm all for doubling him. That makes sense to me. But all the way out here, I'm like, I don't understand this whatsoever. Like, this to me is way too far out. And we saw it basically down the stretch of this game, was that, yeah, we're gonna double Durant out here whenever he decides to, like, kind of hold on to the ball. And I'm like, why? Like, can we wait for him to, like, kind of get closer to, like, the three-point line at least, so that if when we do decide to double, like, it actually gives our, like, one of our defenders a chance to get back into the play. But if you decide to double out here, and he's 7 foot, so he can just see right over a double team, and once he passes it back out, it's a ridiculously terrible 4v3 situation for the Bulls then defensively. As you see here, right? And you then have to depend on these three guys who all collapse in the paint on that one pass to try to defend the possession. And Jabari Smith gets an open 3-point look out of it, and he knocks it down. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I understand that maybe it's some of the logic of what I said earlier, where in the Durant in the post is like, well, I mean, if Jabari Smith takes a three, it's better than Durant taking a shot, I guess. But to me, though, Durant's not a scoring threat, at the half court line, right? Like, I don't think anybody really is besides maybe Steph Curry. So I'm all for doubling Durant when he's like in like a legitimate scoring threat situation, and he's either isoing someone on the block or he's potentially trying to iso someone at the 3-point line. Like, I get that. That makes sense to me. But doubling Durant when he's like basically 40 feet away from the basket doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I think that's an unnecessary time to send a double team, and it's giving the Rockets, who were kind of struggling on offense in this game, to kind of find open 3-point shooters. It gives them a chance to get these open 3-point looks, and they were knocking them down finally at the end of the fourth here. So might have just been a gamble bet, and obviously maybe just didn't pay off. Maybe have better numbers than I do in terms of how I would decide to do this, but yeah, interesting decisions overall, I think, personally, for this Bulls coaching staff on when to double and when not to double tonight. So interesting overall. Again, if you're expecting me to give a compliment to this Bulls coaching staff, I'm not going to do it for the rest of the season. With that being said, I do think that this is a pretty legitimate criticism for the Bulls coaching staff tonight. They decide not to double team Durant when he's isoing in the post, but they'll double team him though when he's 40 feet away from the basket. Yeah, I don't get it. I personally just don't get it, honestly, tonight. So, interesting decisions overall. But again, I think the Bulls players themselves, though, I think they put up a pretty decent fight tonight. Good job offensive rebounding. Trey Jones was incredible tonight. I think Trey Jones probably had the best game of the season, honestly, by a singular Bulls player. Like, I think this is probably the best game of the season. Like, and I understand everyone's gonna be like, well, Giddey, he's had games, but I think this is honestly the best game just because of his efficiency. Like, 11 of 12 shooting for 34 points in 27 minutes is just insane. So I'm gonna go with Trey Jones, honestly. I think Trey Jones tonight just had the best game of the season, and like individually for the Bulls. Unfortunately, though, Bulls end up coming up short here. So, yeah, that's how that one unfortunately came to an end here. Next game for the Bulls is, I think, are we back in the United Center? Okay, we are. So I'm gonna hope to God that we don't have the same situation that we just had in that Miami game that just got postponed and then rescheduled. So the Bulls will be facing off the Miami Heat 3 straight times in a row to end January into February. So I can't wait to watch 3 straight play-in tournament games in a row. That's very fun. I'm shocked the NBA decided to do it that way, but I guess that's how we have to do it. So the Bulls are going to be facing Miami I think it's going to be at home to end January, and then like leading into February, like February 1st or 2nd or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, you get to face Miami twice in Miami. So that's going to be fun. But Bulls going to take on Utah Jazz here at the United Center. And so if you remember our first matchup with the Jazz and went into overtime, I believe it was double overtime. That was Kobe's first game this season from his calf injury. And the Bulls lost in overtime. So I don't think there's, again, with this Bulls team at this point, like there's like no free wins, honestly, unless like maybe you're facing the Wizards. But I mean, even the Wizards, honestly, with Trae Young, who knows at this point. But this is like no easy game. Keontae George is turning into an absolute star, and he has been absolutely incredible for the Utah Jazz. Obviously, Markkanen's had a great year, and he he's been in and out of lineup a little bit more recently, but when he's been healthy, he's had a great year. So I want to see personally, just so we can see this, like I really do want to see Uzelis just guard Markkanen, okay? Because I personally just don't understand why they didn't do that last time they faced them. They had Isaac Okoro guarding Markkanen for most of that game, and I just did not understand it. It's not fair to Okoro, who I do think tries defensively. He's not the best defender or anything like that. He's not an all defensive level defender. He's like an all right defender. But like he's also 6'4", so like I do think that Okoro needs to be guarding guards and not guarding a 7-foot forward. And that even includes like Durant in some senses, but whatever. But I do think that Buzelis needs to be guarding Markkanen at the end of the day. Someone has to take Keontae George, and I understand that we won't be playing with Giddey, so that's not gonna be like an issue of like, oh well, Giddey can't guard Keontae George, so it's gonna mess up like the defensive assignments. But I mean Trey Jones, Io, Okoro, I think that all three of those guys should be on Keontae George for this game. So guys have had some nice wins, but it's also like they're in this like really weird situation where it's like they probably really shouldn't be winning some games, but they are. So we'll see how this goes. Just to show you really quickly, if you guys aren't aware of how well Keontae George is playing this season, like I'm telling you right now, like he has just been absolutely insanely good. So here's his overall stats for the season. But he has taken off in like the last like 2 months, really. Like he is really taking a big step forward. So it's gonna be fun watching him overall as just like an NBA fan, but I do think that well, I guess January hasn't been the best month for him, but December was insane for him, as you can see. But yeah, I am definitely worried that like the Bulls guard gonna get cooked by him. It's gonna put the Bulls in a bad spot, but hey, we'll take L's at this point, honestly. With this Bulls team, that's something that I don't have any issues with whatsoever. So Kobe will be back. We'll see how he plays. I know that like I briefly watched some of that Mavericks versus Bulls game because I didn't take too much time to watch it, but I did see like he did move better in that game overall, which is good to see. And he had, I think, his best game since he's come back from any injury, honestly. So arguably one of his better games since like the second calf issue happened for him. So I hope to see that this is gonna like hopefully be a trend upward for Kobe, but I'm definitely very concerned that like he's gonna come out next game and he's just like, I mean, because he's had 3 days off now, which is kind of the reason why I was a little bit shocked they didn't play tonight, because the Bulls just had 2 days off and then he decided to sit tonight, so he's gonna have 3 days off in between these last 2 games, and I'm a little bit concerned that's gonna get him out of rhythm a little bit, but I hope that it's not the case and he can find a way to go back to increasing his 3-point percentage, because he's gonna have to hit his threes at some point this season. But I am definitely very concerned that it just might not happen. It's gonna end up one of his worst seasons of his career, or the worst season of his career in terms of 3-point percentage, which is just not good. So I hope that he's gonna have a nice game tomorrow, and so I'll be here for Bulls post game tomorrow, and then I believe the Bulls then play again on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I believe I'll be here for Bulls post game tomorrow. I'll also be doing the how to watch for Bulls on Tap, so if you want to read that article, that'll be coming out tomorrow for this Bulls versus Jazz game. And then Sunday, just a brief look at the Bulls schedule, the NFL keeps screwing us over. It's absolutely insane what they've done to us as Chicago fans. But so again, we face Utah tomorrow. We then face Brooklyn on Friday in Brooklyn. Or sorry, wait, am I wrong about? Actually, wait, I think I'm wrong. Hold on 1 second. Check here. Wait, no, okay, I was right. Yeah, so Utah tomorrow, Brooklyn on Friday. Bulls post-game stream will be on this channel for that game as well. But then we get absolutely screwed on Sunday when the Bulls then face Brooklyn again, but back at the United Center. And the Bears will be playing their playoff game at the exact same time. So once again for this week, we will not be having Bulls post-game on Sunday or during the Bears game. So I think everybody in Chicago should be tuning into the Bears game, and it seemed like everyone was, as the Bears-Packers game was the most watched game ever in the NFL. So please tune into the Bears game on Sunday. Do not waste your time watching the Bulls and the Nets go at it. Two not-so-good teams. Go watch the Bears, hopefully win. I I will say I have little faith of the Bears winning, but I'm cheering them on, man. I unfortunately picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know what it was. It was like week 10 or something like that. I was just like, man, this Rams team looks really good, and I did not want to face the Rams right now. I wanted to face the Eagles if I was the Bears, but and it didn't end up working that way. We get the Rams, unfortunately, but hey, if we want to be the best, we gotta beat the best. So I hope the Bears are able to win this next game. That'll be very fun if they do. But again, no Bulls post game for this. I'm not covering this game whatsoever. Bears are too important. Don't worry about this Bulls game. So I wish that we could somehow like flex this game to like be earlier or something. I mean, it's like these two teams are facing off against each other in Barclays, you know, on Friday. Like it's like there's no like advantage for either team heading into Sunday. So like if we just had like a matinee or something, like that'd be better. But we can't do that, unfortunately. So I don't know why, and also I don't know why the NFL decided to do this two games in a row. But you know, it's the NFL; they gotta do their ratings and such. So again, don't worry about this game at all. But Friday, I'll be here, and obviously be back tomorrow. So we'll see how the Bulls play tomorrow. It's gonna be pretty rough for them on a second game of back-to-back. They'll probably even kind of give a good performance. But hey, we're still tuning in. Hope Buzelis extends his streak. You know, hope Trey Jones continues to play well, and I just want to see some better individual play from a lot of these guys, because I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing some inefficient nights from some of these people. But you know, minus the Dallas game, obviously. So who is it? Sorry. Oh, it's all Matt. What's going on? Not covering, never swing. Wait, sorry. Not covering, never swing the rock. Dang. Wait, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to? Is that a reference or something? I do not understand that. I'm very uncultured. I'm so sorry if I don't get that. Are you talking about Michael Porter Jr.? Is that who you're talking about? Or Cam Thomas on the Brooklyn Nets or whoever? Is that who you're talking about? Because don't worry, I'll still be covering them. Oh, never, Michael Porter Jr. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm glad I figured it out. Okay, yeah, don't worry, I'll be covering them on Friday. Like, cause Friday we have a game against them on Friday as well. It's a home and away, or I guess an away and home for the Bulls. But Sunday, I will again. This is Bears Day, so yeah, unfortunately, I will not be covering them on Sunday. But yeah, this is like I'm pissed off that the Bears are playing at the exact same time. But like, listen, bro, like if there's any team in the city of Chicago that is, you know, in the playoffs and actually like being a good team, which is just very rare these days, like you need to go and support that team. So yeah, everyone should be supporting the Bears and not tuning into Chicago Sports Network whatsoever on Sunday. And I think you're making the right proper decision if you're doing that, honestly. If you do watch American football, which I know that some people don't, but I know a lot of people do, though, and I think that everyone should be watching that right now, because it's a great time. I'm very nervous for that game overall, but don't worry, I'll be here for covering a lot more games. You know, I'm slowly getting better with my health here, and I'll be covering tomorrow and Friday, and we'll see how the Bears do on Sunday. All right, I appreciate y'all tuning into this Bulls Rockets postgame stream. We're keeping it short tonight because we have another game to do tomorrow, and I don't want to wear myself out too hard here, and I still am recovering a little bit. I'm still kind of dealing with some stuff with my health. I don't want to talk too much and kind of get myself sick. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Central Time, after the Bulls take on the Utah Jazz, and we'll see how this game goes. And I hope to see some, you know, again, Buzelis extend his streak, continue to play well. Hope to see Kobe play better, just in general. And then hope to see just some better efficiency overall from everybody else compared to what we saw to tonight. So looking forward to that game, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday, all right? Appreciate y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed the film breakdown. Please be safe during these times, all right? Please be safe. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.